Morning, mate.
Hello, how we doing?
Good. Although, as we were just discussing, I'm not going to keep the Tash. The more it sits on my face, the more I hate it.
Yeah, we don't need to go to any sort of audience vote. It is definitive. The Tash is
Drop a comment
going.
down below. Keep or ditch the Tash. Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
If an
And if you
overwhelming
vote
amount of
keep,
people say to keep it, I'll keep it. I will keep it on my
No.
face for the audience.
if you vote keep, I moderate who comes into our community, and I will bounce your ass
You fucking hate
straight
it, don't
out
you?
of there.
You hate it.
I hate it.
All right.
There is no two ways about it. I'm not going to mince my words.
Okay. I appreciate you being honest. That's what good friends do.
That's what good friends do. If I hated you, I would say, Jeff, mate, I've never seen you look better. I love it.
You would be nice, but that wouldn't be kind.
That wouldn't be kind. No.
What are we talking about?
What were we going to talk about? We had
Is the
something.
industry saturated?
That was the one. Is high ticket sales, specifically coming in as a closer, is it saturated?
Go on then, kick us off. Is it saturated?
Yes. End of episode. See you next week.
Done. Next.
No, absolutely not. Now, two sides of it. Is it saturated with people that shouldn't be anywhere near sales? Aren't very good closers or setters? Yes, absolutely. Is there a massive opportunity for genuinely good people, not people that just read scripts and have surface level conversations? If you have a bit of emotional intelligence behind you, if you're a decent human being, if you actually want to help people, not just close people, because you saw some Instagrammer talking about how much bank they're making from closing people, huge opportunity. Absolutely huge.
I'm going to lose my mind if I have to watch one more Miami fuckboy talk about this is the reframe you need whilst the objection handles ChatGPT. I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. Dubai final boss level.
Yeah.
Rented Lamborghini.
Miami final boss closer. Yeah. Well, is that a problem or is that a symptom of a problem? Fuck off.
I did a video about that the other day, and I think the thumbnail was TikTok reframes are tanking your sales. I'm convinced that most of the guys who, are big in high ticket sales on Instagram anyway, put out these fake reframes into the market just to fuck with people, just to try and, wait to hear them upload their versions and laugh at them, because they are horrendous.
Dude, they do it because it gets them clout, right? They do it because they grow big Instagram followings because everybody thinks, oh, this guy's amazing at objection handling, without realizing that he's objection handling his fucking mate. He's not objection handling somebody that's going to go, dude, fuck you. Like, makes me rub my temples. Anyway, that's probably a topic for another podcast. We're talking about whether or not the industry is saturated.
Yeah. Well, you can speak to this because you've trained way more people, been a part of way bigger companies than I have. Where do you see, why do you think there are so many people who just don't get it? We've probably maybe touched on this before, but why are there so many people that, especially the calls that we review, and they're just so far off the mark?
I think it's a couple of things. I think a lot of people tout closing as easy, fast money. Now, is it simple? Yeah, it's simple. Is it easy? Well, it depends. It's like when you first learn to ride a bike, is it easy? No. So how'd you learn? You put in a load of effort and you learn how to ride a bike. And I just think people, and you've got a point, right? This is being predominantly touted by these fucking social media influencers who are, objection handling with LLMs to make good content. And so the message that's being put into the environment is, oh, it's a piece of piss. Yeah, you make 15, 20, 30 grand a month real easy. No, dude, it's like you're going to have to learn the skill. You're going to have to learn to do that. It's a skill set. It's a process. It is simple, but like anything, it's difficult to start with until you start learning. So that's not helping. So tons of people are flooding into the marketplace because they think this is going to be easy money.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, for a similar reason, is that they don't, because they come in thinking it's going to be really easy, they don't put the effort required to learn. And dude, I remember when I first got into closing, if I wasn't on the phone with a prospect, I was going nuts learning how to close. I was saving as much money as I could to hire my next mentor to teach me what I needed. You know what I mean? And I've dropped an ungodly amount of money on learning to be a good closer. And I'm not suggesting you should go and drop an ungodly amount of money, which is why our community is low ticket, to give people the skills they need without having to, you know, give away your worldly savings. But you are going to need to learn from someone. Like just watching YouTube videos and watching these fucking idiots on Instagram, dude, that is going to do nothing but confuse you. It is going to confuse the shit out of you. And you're going to think that all of these reframes are what's needed. And if, in actual fact, what's needed is human connection, having a good conversation, being able to demonstrate authority and trust. And then the real skill is being able to get to the heart of the problem when somebody does throw you an objection, because so many people spend so much time handling an objection that is just a fucking smokescreen. You think, well, I'm going to use this amazing reframe that I learned on Instagram, and then wonder why they don't get the close rate that everybody on Instagram says they get. And it's like, well, dude, is because you just needed to understand the person's real objection, not handle their smokescreen, not handle their bullshit. So I definitely think it's a mixture of people not spending enough time training and actually learning the skill. And the reason I think they don't necessarily spend enough time is because of how they're coming into the industry, which is being purported by a bunch of people online saying, hey, come and make 30 grand a month real easy. I think that's the major issue in 2025 going into 2026.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm seeing more and more, and I've had this conversation with about 5 different reps this week, is the reframes. There's nothing inherently wrong with the reframes they're actually using. They're just at level 2, and the real objection is level 5. So yeah, they're reframing completely the wrong thing. Like if someone says, do you know what, I can't afford this right now, the reality is they've done a weak discovery. So what I can't afford this right now means is I'm not sure this is the right solution. I'm confused. I'm missing context. I don't actually see how this solves my problem. But if they go on a weird tangent, reframing the money mindset, going, well, is this the problem? Is this the symptom of the problem? It's not about the money. It's about your priorities. You're like, dude, you're just pissing that person off. They're too kind and you're trying to be too nice to say, yeah, no, this just isn't for me. But because you haven't gone beyond the smokescreen, because you haven't gone that few levels deeper, because you haven't temperature checked and looked for their level of certainty to gauge whether you think it's a smokescreen or a genuine objection, you're now just, going off in completely the wrong direction. But they think they're really slick and they're really smart because they've got this TikTok wanky reframe that is doing them way more harm than good. Go back to being a 6-year-old, forget everything, and just have like natural curiosity. Have like a 6-year-old level conversation, and that would probably see you further than all of these advanced skills that you've picked up on Instagram and TikTok. Just act confused. Yeah, advanced. Yeah. Act confused. Go, I don't understand. Help me understand. Go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. Somebody says, well, that's too much money. What does that mean? Right? Does that mean I don't have the money? Does it mean I have the money, but I don't see the value in your program? Does it mean I don't have the money, but I could probably find it in a couple of days because I really do value your program? It's like there's so much context missing from somebody saying, Craigie, that's a lot of money. Right? And then they, like you said, they just whip into this wanky reframe that they found online, challenging somebody's mindset around money. And it's like, dude, you're handling the wrong objection. You've got to understand the objection before you can handle it, which is why we teach the come to Jesus conversation, to be able to cut through all of that bullshit and all of that smokescreen and get to the heart of the problem, get to the real objection. And it works like I would say probably 90% of the time, where you get somebody to go, okay, all right, look, here's the deal. And then okay, great. Now we're dealing with the real problem, not some smokescreen fugazi, they've just thrown an objection at you because they don't know it will work, or because they don't trust you, or because they don't trust the program, or because they're too early in the buying cycle, or like, fucking hell, we need context to be able to handle the objection. And I agree with you 100%, dude. I think all of these people online that are throwing out these wanky reframes are just damaging the industry. Credit to them. They're building big audiences because they've stumbled on a format that builds this audience of people. So they're getting all the dopamine, they're getting all the likes, they're getting the views, they're building big Instagram followings. Credit where credit's due. They found a format. The problem is they found a format that is essentially hoodwinking the audience into believing that's what they need at the end of the sales call. And dude, I have sold for and trained more teams than most people have had hot dinners. And the thing that moves the needle the most is being able to understand the real objection, not learning some clever reframe tactic. Is there a place for reframe? Sure, there is. But nowhere near in the frequency that most people think there is.
No. It's, whenever we're doing the calls with the group, we'll go through and we'll test them regularly. If they ask a question, like if we're doing a role play, we'll go, okay, pause. Why that question? Okay, what's behind that question? What are you actually trying to understand? What emotion, belief are you trying to get to? And again, I think that is something that is really massively missing from most closers. They go through and they get taught, here's the script you need. How many videos have you seen? How many groups have you been a part of? And it's like, this is the script to end all scripts. And people just go, oh, fantastic. Don't need to understand what's behind it. Apparently this is it. And it's like, okay, well, if you took away that script, what are you left with? If you were just, let's say you were on a Zoom call and your Word document, Microsoft Word goes offline, can you actually carry on in that conversation? Probably not for most of them, because they have no idea what they're even looking for. So obviously, coming back to, is closing saturated? Is high ticket sales saturated? Yes, it is saturated with really bad people who don't understand the psychology, the inner work of sales. Is there a massive opportunity to come in and learn and be the person that actually understands the belief and the emotion behind the words? Absolutely. There is a massive opportunity to come in and make the money that people talk about online, but not by being a dickhead.
Mate, the reality is every industry is saturated. Doesn't matter what you look at, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, closing, funnel building, like web design, like, doesn't matter. Pick an industry. It's saturated, but it's saturated with a lot of people doing it fucking badly. And I just think with the right work ethic and the right attitude, it's very easy to rise to the top of any industry if you're willing to put the work in, if you're willing to put the time in. So is the industry saturated? Yes. Is it saturated with like really good people? Fuck no. Same as any industry. Is dropshipping saturated? Yeah. Is it saturated with people that are absolute killers at it? No. And then everybody comes in and they do this thing. Either they try remote closing, or they try dropshipping, or they try Amazon FBA, or whatever it may be. And they go, oh, fuck. And they quit after 2 months because they go, oh, I thought it was going to be easy. Dude, anything where you can make a shitload of money is not going to be easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Nothing's easy. If you just want, and we say this to people that express interest in joining the group all the time. Look, if you're looking for a push button, click this, say that, quick script, make 20 grand overnight, don't come in. Like, don't do it. Go and find some fucking idiot online that will sell you that dream. And then, don't complain when you lose 5, 10, 15 grand to realize that it's not as simple as that. Mm-hmm. Is it simple? Yes. But are you going to have to put some fucking effort in to get good? Yes, you are.
I think like anything, there's, sort of lagging returns. right? So you saying about, people try it for 2 months and then think, yeah, that doesn't work. It's lagging compounding returns. Like we've seen people, we've trained people where they seem a bit stagnant for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden, everything just sort of aligns in their mind and it clicks. And they go from closing at like 15% to out of nowhere, they'll do consistent like 30, 40% months where all the skills have been building up and then it all starts coming together. Incrementally, you'll see the increases. Obviously, watching their call reviews, you'll see things get better. But then they'll maybe have a weekend off just to reset and, rest their brain. And then it's just like fucking upward trajectory. But not enough people give it enough time to actually get the compounding returns or put in enough work for for it to compound in the first place. Like you said, when you're not on calls, what are you doing outside of being on calls? Just sitting there and going through school groups and, YouTube videos. Yeah, all right, you're going to pick things up. Who are you messaging? What other reps are you getting on the phones with saying, can we role play? Can you review my call? Can I review your call? Watching other people, other industries. One of the things I got, one of the reps I managed to do the other day, he sells a BizOp offer. I said, right, today you're going to sell me fitness. He was like, why? And I was like, because it's the same framework. It's paid out, cost, desire, money, support, trust. You're into your fitness, right? You're in really good shape. You compete. And he was like, yeah, I just don't see the point. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You don't need to see the point right now. Let's just roll with it and see how you do. And he actually did really well. He was like, cool, paid out, cost, desire. And I'm like, just focusing on one thing all the time, you can almost like zone in on it too much.
Mhm.
So I was like, step outside your comfort zone, go and look at other industries, see what's working well for other people, bring it in.
Yeah, which is the point. If you've got a really solid framework, you can apply it to pretty much any industry. Now, you're going to have to get a little bit more context around the specifics of the deliverables and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, if you just learn a really solid framework, you can jump from a fitness offer to a BizOp offer to a B2B offer, and that framework will still hold true,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, I think that is the thing that is missing. And it was missing for me for the first, best part of getting on in the remote space until I met you. The belief that we've talked about it before, really understanding the meaning behind the questions. Because you can sort of understand it and you'll sort of have a good close rate. If you really understand it, you'll have a really more consistent, at the very least, close rate. And it's so obvious, like when I'm sitting there watching calls, when reps are tired or they've been at it too much, because the framework just goes out the window. And then they go, oh, I don't know why I'm not closing. I'm like, cool. Well, pain was like a 4 out of 10. We got no doubt. So you got DIY objection. Cost of an action was probably a 3 out of 10. So you're going to get, well, I'm going to think about it because there's no urgency to do anything. And, for you, you used to have Post-it notes down the side of your screen. It's really not difficult just to make really small adjustments just to keep yourself on track and, take what some people say is a really, really difficult thing to do and just make it quite simple. I've covered pain. What's left? Doubt, cost, desire, money, support, trust. I've got the 7 beliefs. I've got a pretty good shot of closing this person.
Yep.
Or helping this person.
Yep. Couldn't
And
agree more.
we don't talk about it a lot. We sort of made the decision, sort of early on when we were going to do the podcast, right? There is so much noise out there. We could do a podcast where we just teach sales. It will get lost to the void of Spotify podcast teaching sales and YouTube teaching sales, right? We could do it, but it just adds to the confusion. And we'll give little nuggets here and there in the way that we approach it and what we think it takes to be successful from our experience. But it's this, peeling back the curtain on what it actually takes to succeed. Again, if more people listen to our podcast, things would start clicking rather than just listening to the same objection handling frameworks 100 times over on YouTube.
Mate, I think the problem as well is that people try and learn from too many different people. They'll take, something from 100%. This person, then there's something from Jeremy and something from Matt and something from us. And it's all of a sudden you've got this fucking duct tape together sales process. But you've just got to pick your person. Do you know what I mean? If that's us, great. If it's somebody else, great. But you've just got to pick a lane because that person has a refined process from start to finish. You know, and if you start trying to duct tape together 10 people's processes, you just end up with this Frankenstein of a sales process. The chances of it working, dude, are so slim.
I make most of the reps that I manage delete Instagram and TikTok because it's so obvious. I'll sit there and watch their calls and I'm like, cool, pause it when we're reviewing it together. I'm like, never heard you say that before. And they're like, oh yeah, no, I just thought it sounded clever in the moment. I'm like, no, you didn't. I've heard it on TikTok. I could probably pinpoint exactly who said it. And they completely muller it half of the time. And, I say to them, like, look, if it works, if the analogy works, if it's actually good, I'm all up for it. But if you haven't practiced it and perfected it 100 times and you are practicing it for the first time when there is money on the line, why are you shooting yourself in the foot? Because you've absolutely mullered it. And then they'll try another thing and another thing. And like you said, they'll stitch together some sort of Frankenstein monster. And it's like, that is never going to compound. That is going to decay and get worse and worse and worse. And then you're probably just going to burn out and be one of the people that say, well, high ticket sales doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, we had Mel jump into the closer support call last night in our group. And she was like, I implemented that thing into the process that you guys gave me. And I've closed, what was it, 5 out of 8 calls or something? She had 5 closes for the day.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you do that outside of, like, if you had somebody else's framework and you took that one chunk and you tried to shoehorn it into their framework, it wouldn't work as well as it does with our framework because it's designed to work from A to Z. Do you know what I mean? But I get why people try to do it is because they want to try and learn for free. They want to go, right, let me just see if I can figure this out for free. And then most people get 2 or 3 months down the line, realize that it's just not working. They're not making the money they want to make. They're constantly borderline being kicked off the team. You just have to realize that investing in you is the best investment you'll ever make. You know, I have a problem with authority. I hate being told what to do by anybody. Doesn't matter if it's a mate or a missus or whoever. I hate being told what to fucking do. Apart from if somebody that I've paid money to says, Jeff, for fuck's sake, do it like this. Then I'm like, oh, yes, boss. I'm like the most compliant person in the world because I've parted with money in order to get their feedback. So now it doesn't feel like somebody imposing authority on me. It's like, no, I've paid you to tell me this. So I think if anybody out there is even similar to me in as much as that you fucking hate authority, find a mentor and pay them some money. Don't drop your life savings on it. It's probably not worth it, but find somebody and pay them some money. It makes such a massive difference. I had an example of this the other day. My mentor told me something and unrelated to sales, but it's a business mentor told me something. And I was just like, yes, I'm going to do that straight away. Left the office, went and spoke to my wife and was like, said to do this, and this. She stood there and went, the exact fucking thing I suggested you do about 3 months ago. I was like, okay, that's probably dinner and the dog. But she was right. She told me to do it. I'm like, whatever. The person who I've given money to tells me to do it. And I'm like, great idea. So now that's me. I'm not saying everybody's like me. But for me, I have to have somebody I've given money to because A, that's the only way I listen and implement the shit they're telling me to do. But B, it gets me off my ass. It makes me move. It's like, okay, I've dropped a chunk of change here. I have got to get a return on my investment. So now I'm going to work 10 times harder as opposed to just kind of floating around in the atmosphere. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try this. Fuck, dude, you need to be laser focused. And if parting with money gives you that kick up the ass to make you laser focused, part with some fucking money. Doesn't have to be us. Could be anybody. Other sales trainers are available.
Yeah,
you know,
it doesn't have to be us. But again, we've spoke about it before, right? There are so many different ways in which we could do what we do. We genuinely, probably the same as most people out there, believe that what we have is so unique and special and different, because we're not here to bullshit anyone. We have put together our collective experience into what we feel the industry needs, what we have seen people pay 5, 10, 15,000 pounds for, and still not really got any return from it. You know, obviously it's our little baby. We're building it, we're nurturing it, we're getting ready to sort of strap its shoes on and send it off to school. It's still growing, we're still figuring it out. But there, you know, there are so many people out there that are just in it for the money. Like that is their source of income.
Yep.
For us, the reason we do it is the fact that we are still actively in the space. We manage teams. We see the effect of bad reps coming through and being on offers. You know, it can tank an offer. You are the front line of someone's business. And when you don't have people that get it, it's frustrating to us because we can sit there and try and coach people till we're blue in the face. If they've come from a really shit training background, it's an uphill struggle. So for us, it's you know, it's a self-liquidating offer in the fact that we can find people who get it, train them, put them onto offers, and, you know, give back to the industry in some sort of sense.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, we will go over and beyond for our guys and girls. You know, if somebody needs a one-on-one call, we'll do a one-on-one call. Everybody has an onboarding call, right? Now, I don't know any other program that is the same price as ours that will do an onboarding call. Most people, if it's the same price as ours, you'll get thrown into a course and go, there you go, figure it out. Good luck. We train 5 times a week with our guys. We hop on one-to-ones with our guys and girls. You know, we have a community aspect. We make sure that it's fun. We go over and above to make sure that our guys and girls get a result. And I think the
on the flip side,
go on.
I was going to say, we also call people out. I know a lot of people that have, you know, $100 communities, and because it's a low ticket thing, they just go through the motions. They'll turn up to their 1 hour a day call, and it's just like, well, cool. You know, it's not really a serious thing. We were, you know, quizzing some of the guys in there the other day, and I asked him a really basic question. He's been in there for about 6 months, and he was like, I have no idea what that question means. And I was like, there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't know what that question means. You are here for 4 or 5 days a week. We've been through this plenty of times. You should know what this means. Now, for £100, whatever it is a month community, most people just wouldn't give a shit. They'd glaze over it. And I'm like, dude, I want you to succeed. Whether it's £5, £100, £1,000, whatever you're putting into yourself, show up and take it seriously.
Yeah.
How can we place you if you're not going to, you know, even do the reps?
Yeah, 100%. Take it seriously. Anybody has the capacity. I'm gonna catch myself on that. Most people have the capacity to be really good. They just need to put the work in. It's a little bit like, you know, doing sales training. Most people will just rip through a program, a course, a training, whatever it may be, and then go, right, great. Well, why aren't I a genius? So, and I think, I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Hormozy. I don't know. But somebody said, you know, all of these people talking about, oh, I read 100 books a year. Great job, genius. How much of it do you retain and put into action? You're better off picking 3 amazing books and just reading those 3 over and over and over again and actually implementing the things that you're learning from those 3 books. You know, and that it's like, dude, what your human brain doesn't naturally retain a lot of information, you know? So take the time. They call it going slow to go fast. You know, get a notebook, write everything down as you're going through it. Oh, it's going to take me ages to go through it. Yeah, but by writing it down, it will actually go into your brain better. So you'll retain more of it. So you could rip through the program and remember 3% of it, or you could go through the program and take several weeks writing everything down and retain 50% of it, which will make you infinitely better in less time than the person that's just blasted through the program and then gone, oh, why aren't I a 30K a month closer?
Yeah. It's funny. I've been looking semi-seriously for the last 4 weeks or so for going to university next year to do psychology. Now,
Nice.
purely for the reason of having the certificate of, psychology at the end of it. But I was looking at the courses and it's, they're like 30 grand, whatever they are. And to do it all in one is 3 years. To do it part-time is 7 years. And I was just like, for that exact sort of reason, I was in bed the other night and I read about 5 pages of a book. And then I got to the end of the 5 pages and was like, I haven't retained any of that. And then I started thinking about the university degree and I was like, if I did it part-time, which I would have to, because I just don't have the capacity to full-time study for 3 years to get a psychology degree. I was like, how much of this am I actually going to retain? And just for the sake of having a certificate, which would be more of an ego thing for me. I'm not planning on becoming a therapist. I don't need it for the career that I have. Yes, it would deepen my level of my understanding, but I could probably go and do a, NLP master practitioner course in a week for 3.5 grand and probably retain more of it. I probably know most of it anyway, but, having it there, yeah, you've got to, for our course, our community, we intentionally made it very short in the fact that you could probably sit there and watch the entire thing in the space of a couple of hours. And that's what it's intended for, to brush up and go, cool, I missed that on the last call. I can watch that in 10 minutes. Right. I've refreshed it.
Yeah.
No,
We
I've
wanted
got
to
to
give,
watch 2 hours per video.
yeah, it was about giving people the 80-20, wasn't it? Here's the 20% of everything you need that is going to give you 80% of the results that you can get. And that's the point. It's not supposed to be some bloated fucking 100-hour program that you'll just never retain anything from, which is, like you said, it's why we made it bite-sized. It's why we made it punchy and short, is because that's literally the 80-20 of everything you need,
Yeah. And the 20 is the 5 calls that we do a week. Okay, you've got the foundations, you've got the understanding. Now come and put it into practice.
100%.
That's another thing. I don't know many £100 communities that do 5 times a week, 5 hours worth of show up on top of one-to-one calls if you need them, on top of, live role plays with them, recording them to place them into roles when they're good enough.
I don't know any. This pod does feel like it's been an absolutely shameless plug for our community, though.
Absolutely. What was the topic again?
Is the industry saturated?
Why Jeff and Josh have a good community? That was it. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Maybe we'll change the title. We don't know.
Maybe. Coming back to it, is it saturated? Absolutely. Same as any other market, right? Costa and Starbucks exist on every corner of the globe, but every week a new coffee shop opens. McDonald's and Burger King open, on every corner of the globe. Every week a new burger van rocks into town. Some new little operator comes in. What's the framework? New, easier, better, isn't it? Something like that. For like if you're going through and making a product, is it new? Is it better? Is it easier? Something like that. And it's the same for closers. If you can come through and you can be better than the 99% of people that are in the industry right now, it doesn't matter whether you've got no experience at all. If you can demonstrate your worth. We had this with a rep probably a couple of months ago now. They were like, oh, well, I don't have much experience, so I don't feel like I do very well in the interview. And we're like, okay, cool. Just objection handle it. Forget what's on a piece of paper, because anyone could put anything on a piece of paper and make up, a spreadsheet. Put me to the test. Let me demonstrate my value and my worth. And if you can do that, and a business owner sees it, if anyone, what was the old Grant Cardone thing where you used to give them the option of selling the water or sell themselves? And whatever they said, oh, I want to sell the water, he'd go, okay, cool, sell yourself. Because they were more comfortable selling the water. And he was like, I don't care, I want to see what you can actually do. If you could show up and absolutely boss something like that, they would, forget half the people that had applied, even if they had 10 years on.
Yep. Which is one of the reasons we teach our guys and girls to objection handle the business owner. when they say things like, yeah, well, we'll get back to you. Or, yeah, well, we're not hiring people with no experience. We teach them to objection handle that, because if you can impress them in that moment, every business owner will go, fuck, all right, fair enough. You got a shot. And that's all you need.
Absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I hate Josh, I want to punch him in the face, 10 being I love Josh, I'm probably going to offer him the job. Where do we land?
Where do you see yourself right now? See? Good shit, man. Good shit. Well,
there you go.
I don't have anything else to say.
Let's do the actual plug. And we shot ourselves in the foot with this because we changed the name of our community halfway through starting this podcast. So, the Remote Closing Lab, if you want to come and see what it's all about, even if you jump in, rinse it for 30 days and decide we are absolutely terrible, hopefully by the time you do jump in, that face furniture will be off of Jeff's face. And, we could just have a good time and do some sales stuff together.
End of November. It's coming off.
End of November. Yeah. If you come in before November, we'll give you a 10% off for having to put up with that face furniture. There we go.
Deal. All right, done. School.com/the Remote Closing Lab.
That's the one.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Cheers, buddy.